I look back now and realize that there were many ways at some of the best moments of my life I was miserable. I was not happy. I was stressed.
Have you ever wondered what happens when a role becomes so iconic that the world can no longer see the person behind it? For millions of fans, Jim Parsons will always be Sheldon Cooper, the brilliant, socially awkward physicist who transformed The Big Bang Theory into one of the biggest sitcoms in television history. His unique delivery, unforgettable catchphrases, and unmatched comedic timing made him a household name across the globe. But behind the laughter, standing ovations, and record-breaking paychecks was a man carrying pressures that very few people truly understood. From years of rejection before finding success to the overwhelming burden of becoming television's most recognizable genius, Jim Parsons' journey wasn't simply about fame. It was about sacrifice, identity, and making one of the hardest decisions any actor could face. At the height of his career, when the show was still dominating ratings and every new season promised millions more in earnings, Jim shocked Hollywood by walking away. Many fans couldn't understand why. Some believed he was tired. Others assumed there had been conflict behind the scenes. Rumors spread quickly, but the real story was far more personal. To understand why his decision left so many people stunned, we have to go back to where it all began. Long before the awards, the fortune, and international fame, Jim Parsons was just a young man from Houston, Texas, with an impossible dream. Growing up, he wasn't the loudest kid in the room. He wasn't the star athlete. Instead, he discovered something that made him feel alive every single time he stepped onto a stage: acting. From an early age, he realized that performing gave him confidence in ways everyday life never could. While other children imagined becoming doctors or astronauts, Jim imagined entertaining audiences. It wasn't just a hobby. It became his purpose. His family encouraged his passion, but nobody could guarantee that Hollywood would ever open its doors. Like thousands of aspiring actors, Jim eventually left home hoping talent and determination would be enough. Reality, however, had other plans. The entertainment industry can be brutally unforgiving. Auditions came and went. Rejections piled up. Opportunities disappeared almost as quickly as they arrived. There were moments when success felt impossibly far away. Many talented actors quit during this stage. Some returned home. Others abandoned their dreams forever. Jim refused. He kept studying. He kept improving. He kept believing. Years passed before anything truly changed. Then, almost unexpectedly, one audition altered the course of his entire life. That audition was for a brand new sitcom centered around a group of brilliant but socially awkward scientists. The character's name was Sheldon Cooper. According to people involved with the casting process, Jim's performance was unlike anything they had seen. He didn't simply read the lines. He became the character. His timing, expressions, voice, and unique rhythm made Sheldon instantly unforgettable. Legend has it that the producers were so impressed they asked him to audition again. Not because they doubted him, but because they couldn't believe anyone could naturally deliver such a performance. The second audition confirmed exactly what everyone suspected. Jim Parsons was Sheldon Cooper. When The Big Bang Theory premiered, nobody predicted what would happen next. The first season attracted attention. The following seasons created a phenomenon. Soon, millions of viewers around the world were tuning in every week. Sheldon Cooper became more than a television character. He became part of pop culture. Fans repeated his jokes. Children copied his mannerisms. Merchandise filled stores. Catchphrases entered everyday conversations. Jim Parsons had achieved something actors spend entire careers chasing. He had created an unforgettable character. But extraordinary success often comes with extraordinary consequences. The more famous Sheldon became, the less audiences seemed able to separate him from Jim himself. Every interview included questions about Sheldon. Every appearance reminded people of Sheldon. Every new role was compared to Sheldon. It was flattering, but it also became limiting. In Hollywood, actors dream of versatility. They want to disappear into different characters. Yet becoming one of television's most iconic personalities can sometimes make that goal incredibly difficult. The very role that changed Jim's life also threatened to define the rest of his career. Still, he never allowed those pressures to affect the audience. Week after week, season after season, Jim delivered performances that earned enormous praise. Awards followed. Recognition grew. He won multiple Emmy Awards for Outstanding Lead Actor in a Comedy Series and became widely recognized as one of television's finest comedic performers. Eventually, the cast negotiated historic salaries. Reports indicated that Jim Parsons and several of his co-stars were earning around $1 million per episode during the show's peak years. It was a level of success few actors ever experience. From the outside, life looked absolutely perfect. Worldwide fame, financial security, critical acclaim, millions of devoted fans. But appearances can be deceiving. As the years passed, Jim quietly began asking himself a question that many successful people eventually face. Is this really the life I want forever? That question would eventually lead to one of the most surprising decisions in television history. And when that decision finally became public, it didn't just shock fans. It changed the future of The Big Bang Theory forever. By the time The Big Bang Theory entered its final years, Jim Parsons had achieved what most actors only dream about. He was one of the highest-paid television actors in history. His performances had earned multiple Emmy Awards. Millions of fans adored him. From the outside, it looked like there was absolutely no reason to walk away. But behind the scenes, Jim's priorities were slowly changing. Years of playing the same character had begun to take an emotional toll. For more than a decade, Sheldon Cooper had become a part of his daily life. Every script, every rehearsal, every filming day, every interview. The character never truly left him. Although Jim remained grateful for everything the show had given him, he also realized something important. He wanted to grow. He wanted to explore different stories. And perhaps most importantly, he wanted the freedom to choose the next chapter of his life before someone else chose it for him. Around the same time, life delivered another painful reminder that nothing lasts forever. Jim experienced the heartbreaking loss of his beloved dog, Otis. To many people, losing a pet may seem like a small event, but for Jim, it became deeply emotional. Otis had been part of his family for many years. The loss forced him to reflect on how quickly life can change. Not long afterward, another frightening moment shook him. While walking his dogs, Jim slipped and broke his foot. The injury required medical attention, but it also gave him unexpected time to think. He later admitted that those experiences made him look at life differently. He began asking himself difficult questions. How long did he want to continue living the same routine? Was he still choosing the show because it fulfilled him? Or because leaving felt too risky? Those thoughts became impossible to ignore. Then came the conversation that changed everything. Jim informed the producers that he was ready to move on after season 12. The news spread quickly among the cast. For many, it was completely unexpected. The actors had spent more than a decade together. They weren't just co-workers anymore. They had become a family. Ending the series wasn't an easy decision. Warner Brothers and the network reportedly had every reason to continue. The show remained one of television's biggest successes. New seasons would likely have generated enormous profits. But without Jim Parsons, the creators believed The Big Bang Theory simply wouldn't be the same. Rather than replacing Sheldon Cooper or forcing the story to continue, they chose to end the series with dignity. That decision surprised millions of fans around the world. Many had expected the sitcom to continue for years. Instead, one actor's personal choice brought one of television's greatest comedies to a close. The final table read became an emotional moment for everyone involved. Cast members have spoken about the tears, hugs, and overwhelming feeling that an unforgettable chapter was coming to an end. For over a decade, these actors had shared birthdays, holidays, celebrations, and countless memories together. Saying goodbye wasn't simply the end of a television show. It was the end of a major part of their lives. When the final episode aired in 2019, millions of viewers tuned in. Fans watched with mixed emotions. There was gratitude for 12 incredible seasons. But there was also sadness. The elevator was finally repaired. Sheldon delivered one of television's most heartfelt speeches while accepting the Nobel Prize. For many viewers, it felt like saying goodbye to close friends. Jim himself later reflected on the ending with appreciation rather than regret. He explained that leaving wasn't about unhappiness. It was about recognizing the right moment to move forward. That honesty earned him even more respect. Walking away from extraordinary success is something very few people are willing to do, especially when the rewards are still growing. Yet Jim chose personal fulfillment over comfort. Financially, the decision may have meant saying goodbye to future multimillion-dollar paychecks. Professionally, it meant risking life after the role that had defined his career. Emotionally, it meant leaving behind people he had worked with almost every day for 12 years. None of those choices were easy, and perhaps that is the real tragedy. Not scandal, not controversy, not failure, but the quiet pain that often comes with closing one of the most important chapters of your life. For Jim Parsons, success came with a price that audiences rarely saw. The laughter they enjoyed each week was real, but so were the sacrifices required to create it. As one chapter closed, another was only beginning, and the next stage of Jim Parsons' career would prove that he was far more than Sheldon Cooper. When The Big Bang Theory came to an end, many people believed Jim Parsons would disappear from Hollywood. After all, how could anyone escape the shadow of Sheldon Cooper? For more than 12 years, audiences had associated his face, voice, and mannerisms with one unforgettable character. It was the kind of success that can become both a blessing and a burden. Some actors spend their careers searching for one iconic role. Others spend the rest of their lives trying to escape it. Jim Parsons now faced exactly that challenge. The pressure was enormous. Every new project would be judged against The Big Bang Theory. Every performance would invite comparisons. Every interview seemed to begin with the same question: do you miss Sheldon? Instead of rushing into another sitcom, Jim made a different choice. He wanted to prove that his career was bigger than one character. He accepted roles that challenged him creatively rather than simply repeating what audiences already expected. He appeared in films, theater productions, and dramatic television projects that showcased a completely different side of his talent. Some fans were surprised. Others admired his willingness to take risks. Behind the camera, Jim also discovered another passion: producing. Rather than only acting, he became involved in developing stories from the very beginning. It was a new chapter that allowed him to use years of experience in a completely different way. At the same time, his personal life became increasingly important. For years, Jim had kept much of his private life away from constant public attention. In 2017, he married his longtime partner, Todd Spiewak, after many years together. For Jim, the relationship represented stability in an industry often filled with uncertainty. While Hollywood constantly changed around him, he had someone beside him who had supported him long before many of the awards and headlines arrived. That kind of support became invaluable. Fame can be exciting, but it can also be incredibly lonely. Millions of people may recognize your face without truly knowing who you are. Jim often appeared calm and thoughtful during interviews, emphasizing gratitude over celebrity. Rather than chasing endless attention, he focused on meaningful work and a balanced life. That decision earned respect from both colleagues and longtime fans. Still, leaving The Big Bang Theory wasn't something everyone understood. Some viewers blamed him for ending the show. Others wished he had stayed for several more seasons. The criticism was impossible to avoid. For an actor who had given so much to one role, hearing disappointment from loyal fans couldn't have been easy. Yet Jim never responded with anger. Instead, he consistently spoke with appreciation for everyone involved in the series. He praised the writers. He praised the cast. He praised the crew. Most importantly, he thanked the fans whose support had changed his life forever. That attitude revealed something many people had overlooked. The man behind Sheldon Cooper was remarkably different from the character himself. Quiet, thoughtful, humble, and deeply aware that success is never guaranteed. As the years passed, Jim continued building a career on his own terms. He returned to Broadway. He accepted voice acting roles. He appeared in new television productions. He expanded his work as an executive producer, helping bring fresh stories to audiences around the world. Although none of those projects reached the same global phenomenon as The Big Bang Theory, they represented something equally valuable. Freedom. For the first time in many years, Jim wasn't expected to become Sheldon Cooper every morning. He could explore different personalities, different emotions, different challenges, and perhaps that was the future he had been searching for all along. Still, no matter how many new achievements followed, one reality remained impossible to escape. To millions of fans across the world, Jim Parsons would always be remembered as Sheldon Cooper. It was both an incredible honor and a lifelong responsibility. The character had given him everything, but it had also become something he could never fully leave behind. That emotional contradiction may be one of the greatest challenges any actor can face. And as Jim entered the next chapter of his life, another important question began to emerge. How would history remember him? As Sheldon Cooper, or as one of the most gifted actors of his generation who dared to walk away from the biggest role of his life before it defined his entire future? The answer may be more powerful than anyone expected. Looking back today, it's easy to focus on the awards, the record-breaking salary, the worldwide fame, or the unforgettable success of The Big Bang Theory. But those achievements tell only part of Jim Parsons' story. Behind every